gents, what is going on? Let's switch this
Hey
around a little bit.
everyone.
Get a little bit centered
Whoa.
there.
What's
Yeah,
going
look at that.
It's
on? What's going on?
new.
Yeah, yeah. Let's go back to the other way. I like that a little bit
All
better.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I was adjusting for that, but
Now you don't have to adjust anymore.
I had to adjust back because of it. Get a load of this
So
guy. Get
yeah,
a load of this
yeah.
guy.
Light crew today, which is good, right? Because we're ranking the Candyman franchise. There's not a lot of horror news that's out there right now, and boys, I got COVID last week, so I don't want to stay on too long because I'm still dealing with the fatigue from from COVID last week. So that's a little crazy.
As someone
But
who
how?
barely survived it, as you all know, man,
Mhm.
people forget that it's still out there. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah. Look. It was my Valentine's Day gift. So I went to the movies on Valentine's Day. Came back with COVID. Fantastic.
I have a Valentine's Day story about being sick a couple years ago, but I'm not gonna say that one sucks. That was I can
Mhm.
being sick on Valentine's Day is apparently the worst way to be sick.
Mm,
Woo.
Or imagine shooting
yeah.
a Valentine's Day horror movie, a short film, and that's how I got COVID and ended
Oh,
up in the hospital for 2 months.
yep, yep.
So
Yeah, no,
yeah.
that was the interview that we went down to do for the Valentine's Day horror film that we were on set.
Mhm.
Well, we were supposed to go on set and we decided not to. Thank God we didn't. We all would have gotten COVID.
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah, crazy stuff, crazy stuff. So before we dive into
Valentine's
the
Day colors
Candyman,
right now.
yeah, you're a week late. You're a week late.
I
All
tried. It's
right.
still February. If February is the Valentine's Day month, I'm give me a break.
Look, we don't need a whole entire month for it. Come on now.
Mhm.
Look, so I know you both haven't seen it yet, but we got to talk about the monkey a little bit, right? So this is our weekend box office numbers. We got Captain America in at number 1 2 weeks in a row. Monkey opened up at number 2 with $14.2 million. Wow, I'm surprised, really surprised. So, and then we got Hard Eyes hanging in there in the top 10 at number
There's
6.
another Paddington movie. Sorry,
Yeah,
that's
Mhm.
unrelated. I didn't
Snuck
know
up.
they made another one.
yep,
Yeah, it snuck up
yep.
on everybody.
hmm Yeah, so Hard Eyes to me honestly is the best horror movie for the year so far. I think that was really good. But
I say
Monkey,
number two for me. I love Hard Eyes, but Companion, man. I love Companion, dude.
really? Yeah, I
Yeah, I
like I
love
like
Companion.
Companion, but Hard Eyes is look, we talked about Hard Eyes. That was the movie that we left in like I gotta go watch it again. Soon
Which
as
one's
you
Yeah, Hard
left,
Eyes
Companion?
was
we said
just
the same
fun.
thing.
Yeah, Hard Eyes was fun as shit, man. Like I have
Yeah,
nothing negative to say about Hard Eyes. I loved it,
yeah,
but
Which one's
Companion was
Companion?
just that's with the android with
yep.
The one with Megan
the girl
Fox?
that thinks she's human. Yeah, no.
No, 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 no. This is another one. This is with Richie from Scream 6, Jack
Yeah,
Quaid.
Oh. I
hmm
thought that came out last
yeah.
year.
Yeah,
No, that movie
no.
was
What's great
wild.
about what was Yeah, it was a great movie. What's great about those two movies that came out is you have Companion that was the anti Valentine's Day movie, and then you
Yeah,
have Hard Eyes, which was the perfect Valentine's Day movie. So you could
yep,
watch them together too.
yep,
So it was just a great combination of horror films to come out. So I was really happy with
yeah.
those films. And typically, like I think for the last 6, 7 years, I've been going to the movies weekly, except for when the movie theaters closed down. And I'm usually able to judge how the movie landscape's going to be based off of what drops in February and January, because usually that's
Hmm.
the dumping ground for crappy movies. But
Hmm.
Peter Pan, Hard Eyes, Companion, those movies were all pretty good. And then on Shutter,
Yeah.
we got Grafted. So we got like out of the 5 horror movies that I've seen, 4 of them are really good, and we're going to talk about the fifth one because that's the Monkey, and we're going to keep it spoiler free. So I don't know if anybody's watching, seen the Monkey yet, but my God, dude, I went into that movie thinking that that was going to be some great ass, fabulous movie. The opening scene was tremendous, and I was like, "Yep, this is it. This is going to be a fun movie." And then we get after our second kill, we see the scene in the trailer with the priest. Have you seen the
Hmm.
trailer
Hmm.
where you have the priest come up there and he starts talking all gibberish? That killed
Hmm.
the entire movie for me right there, because
Oh
we
man.
kept yeah, we kept bouncing in between quirky comedy and horror movie, and we just kept going back and forth, and we couldn't settle on which one to do it. So like
Hmm.
every time the horror starts to elevate, the comedy would just pull you out of it. and then sometimes when the comedy was decent, then the horror would just kind of kill the comedy of it. And then like as we're getting into the middle to the end of the second act and the third act, everything just kind of thrown in there. Like the
Mm.
premise of the movie is so good that it's Final Destination with a cursed monkey. That's really what it starts out to be, with a side of comedy in it, and then it just goes off the rails.
So it's
Now,
not tied to Monkey Shines at all.
I
If you
haven't
remember Monkey Shines.
Yeah, I have not read it. I have not seen Monkey Shines, but
Okay.
the monkey's curse, it sets off a bunch of accidents and stuff like that and random killings.
Okay.
The the acting is about the same as Longlegs. So I think
Okay.
Osgood Perkins is looking for a certain style to have in his films,
Uh-huh.
and my God, let me tell you, like this is a horror movie that I didn't even stay to see if there was anything mid credits or after credits. I was just like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
That's
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 sad, man, because
that's
I'm a
rare.
fan of what's the actor's name? The Brit Theo. I can't think of his last name right now. The lead actor.
Yeah.
I'm a huge
Hmm.
fan of his, man, because like with each project, he's like getting better, better. I don't know if you've seen uh the Gentleman series that's based off the movie, the Guy Ritchie
No, I
movie
haven't.
with Matthew McConaughey. The series is so good, and he
Hmm.
crushes it in the series.
Yeah.
So I had high hopes for this movie, man. But you're not the only person that said that it starts off good and then it just falls
Yep.
apart. you know.
And what makes it really bad is the end, like the finale scene. Like you're like, what the hell is going on? Like everything transforms. The whole entire movie is just completely different in the final scene.
Mhm.
And oh man, I really want to say it's because like there is a thing that happens in the final scene that crosses their path. I'm like, what the fuck did we just do? Like, what did we just do to the movie? That makes no sense that they added that thing into the movie.
It was
Now,
just random.
I have a feeling, yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a cult classic because if you get a bunch of friends together, you're drinking, and you have a sarcastic buddy there, like having Noah there, you're going to have a good
Mhm.
time if you're making fun of the movie and stuff like that as you're watching it. So I
I
think
don't know
it'll
what
be
you're
a cult
talking
classic.
about.
Yeah.
That's a rude assumption. That is probably exactly why I'm gonna go see this movie now too.
Yeah, just go there to make fun of it. You bring Lucas, bring a bunch of people, go have fun that way, because that's the only way you can enjoy it.
Yeah, but then I'll be that asshole in the theater that I want to throw things at, talking during the movie. I don't think that there's gonna be anyone else in the theater, but
You know, the movie was crowded when I was there. I was surprised. It was more crowded than any horror movie that I've seen this year. People went out to see this one.
then the practical people are gonna go watch reviews on it before they go see it.
Hmm. Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Look who's returned. CG, where you been?
CG,
We missed you. How's it going?
you were discussed in the after meeting.
My God, yes, CG. We were talking about you last week because you missed out on some pretty good episodes. Now, second thing of news that I wanted to talk about real quick is let's go over to this one. So it's horror and comic book news related, but Mike Flanagan's next film is Clayface. Now, I like Clayface from
Me
Batman
too.
the Animated Series. I think it
I can't wait.
really
Yes.
done well. The director of this is the
Hey, the
director of
monkey.
Eden Lake. Yeah, yeah. Let's not talk about the monkey no more. But the director is Eden from Eden Lake, so this is a great combination. Mike
Yes,
Flanagan
because
and
I
the
like
director of
Eden
Eden
Lake.
Lake doing
Yeah, I like
Clayface.
Eden Lake.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So what's your thoughts? Both of you being major comic book fans on Clayface being a horror movie.
Is this
I'll let
connected or
nephew go
disconnected
first.
from any universe?
I think it's
No, it's
connected.
connected. It's connected.
But what
It's connected to
to
the
which
DCU.
universe?
James Gunn
To James Gunn?
universe. Hmm
Hmm.
I mean, I don't know. I have to see Superman because like I am gonna give Superman a shot because why not? So now Lucas misses out on the nerd shit because now we're talking about the
Yep.
nerd shit today. So I think that's really funny. But I'm gonna give Superman a shot just because I'm annoyed by all the people like comparing like two trailers to Henry Cavill and all that. So I'm gonna watch the movie, see how if I
Yep.
like that movie, I'll give this one a shot. I like Clayface. I think that there's definitely potential to do a horror movie. Um,
Hmm.
do we get to see a glimpse at the DCU's Batman in this? Then that's what I want to know, because
They might they
yes,
might handle it like the Penguin, where either they might just throw the symbol up or just mention him, or he may
see a
even pop up
shadow of
because
him.
they haven't cast it. Yeah, they haven't cast it. Who's going to be Batman in the
I have
James
an interesting
Gunn's
take on
world?
that,
Yeah,
but that's for a
yeah.
different type of podcast on who they should have casted for Batman. But
Mm.
I think there's potential, especially referring to the like going back to talking about the Batman animated series, because they've done a lot of good stuff with that kids TV show, even Batman Beyond. So there's a lot of story to tell that they could tell and twist
Hmm.
into a horror movie. So I'm interested. I definitely am more excited for this horror movie than I am for Scream 7. So
Yeah.
I'll say that. I'll say that. That's the best answer I can give right now.
Like for me personally,
Yep.
Clayface is one of my favorite Batman villains. One, he's a
Hmm.
tragic ass character. One, his
Yep.
story is just tragic. But it works in horror though, man, because like kind of similar. Like I actually say that him and Mysterio in the Spider-Man universe have similar stories. You know what I mean? Uh, and so Clayface, the fact that Alan Tudyk is going to play him again, since he voiced him
Hmm.
already several times, I think is a brilliant casting to have Tudyk play the role because Tudyk is just a beast of an actor, man. Um, and then the fact that it's Mike Flanagan and the director of Eden Lake, and I love
Hmm.
Eden Lake. Like that
Yeah.
movie just came out of nowhere and was awesome.
That
So if
movie's
it's along
brutal.
that tone, yeah, if it's
Yep.
along that tone, Clayface, man, he's a badass villain, dude. And like CG said, if you saw Creature Commandos, that episode of Clayface, man, he was a beast. Like he's a force to be reckoned with, you know.
Hmm.
And hopefully it won't be heavily relied on CG. You know, it has to be, obviously, because he
Oh yeah.
morphs and stuff like that.
Hmm.
But hopefully, you know, they'll be able to keep it realistic looking and yeah, we'll see, man. I'm excited for it. So
Yeah. From what I heard, like the beginning part of the movie is supposed to be really like him shifting faces and stuff like that. So that's gonna be
mhm.
really good. Feels like it's gonna be like a throwback to a Universal's monsters, but more brutal. Like
Well,
maybe a
that's
little.
what they
You see a
did.
little bit of the crazy. Yeah.
That's what they
Go
did
ahead.
in Cape Crusader. If you saw that series on Amazon, the animated
Yeah.
Batman series, Cape Crusader, where you know he
Mhm.
was the actor, but he was like, what was the guy that used to play back in the 50s, 60s movies that kind of looked like he played, was it Quasimodo or Igor or something? But he looked like that actor where he wasn't the most attractive actor, even
Mhm.
though he was super talented. So he made himself look younger and everything like that. But yeah, that episode of Cape Crusader with Clayface, check that out if you get a chance.
Mhm.
It's almost like horror, even though they
Yeah.
made him look like kind of like the
Great
shadow a
show.
little bit with his costume.
Yeah.
Um, he was that episode of Clayface was really good. Yeah.
Yeah. RJ's with us. Hey, RJ. I have faith in Clayface if they make a great movie rule of fist. Don't let Clayface make quips like those. Yes. Oh my God. They could destroy
Yeah,
the Venom movie.
please keep the comedy out of it. Keep
Yeah.
the comedy out of it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I got faith in Mike Flanagan and the director of Eden Lake. I think it's going to be a brutal movie. I think it's going to be scary, and I think that might be the movie that people talk about in DC more than they talk about Superman, because Superman's
yeah,
got Fantastic Four to contend with this summer.
yeah,
Now, Mike Flanagan also, for those that don't know or probably do know, there's that little hidden gem that came out on Netflix. Hush.
yeah.
Fantastic movie. This is the whole basis of why physical media is something that you need to own, because Netflix had this only on digital and then they pulled it, and that
Mhm.
caused an uproar for them to finally put it onto a disc. But there's some special features, like Marcus. What were you telling me about the special features that come with the
Yeah,
movie?
so he came out with what they call the shush cut. So the shush cut of the film is in black and white. The cinematography is in black and white, but they remove all the music from the movie and amp up all the ambient sounds so you could kind of experience as if you were, you know, a mute person or a deaf person. Um, and so I think that's like extremely visceral because you only get like little pieces of that in the normal cut of the film. But I think it would be brilliant just to watch that and experience. Plus, I'm a huge fan of black and white films anyway, especially if
Yeah.
it's done well in modern times. So yeah, I'm excited to pick up that copy of the movie, man.
Yeah, $90 is not bad, but Hush is so good. Such
Yeah,
a great movie. Such a great stalker
yeah.
movie in there. I would like to see that new version released at theaters, just like for a
Hmm.
one night only showing or something like that. I think that's an experience to see.
Well, he did that. I think it was either late last year or like sometime in January. He did that out in LA. That a lot of people didn't know that the physical media of it was coming out,
Yeah.
and then I guess it was like a one night only of that version, and that's how I found out about the
Hmm.
article about it coming out. So I'm glad that you saw that it was on that collector's edition. So I got to pick that one up. Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, that's on my list to buy. So we got CG. I agree. We need to keep physical media. It's so sad when you purchase any movies or show. It's a purchase you do not buy it, so therefore you don't own it. And if they want to take the
Hmm.
purchase away, they can. That's a huge thing. Is it's not guaranteed just because you own it on digital. Not at all.
My only beef with physical media today, and I blame the studios more so than the actual, content, physical media. I miss the days of, and this is the reason why I'm a filmmaker today, was watching all the BTS stuff, the deleted scenes and the making of the
Hmm.
movies and stuff like that. Now these studios are like, oh, it's too expensive to add that stuff on there. I'm like, man, that's BS, man. Come on, you know.
Yeah,
Uh,
and I think it was back in the 2000s where they got nailed for gouging on prices of DVDs and Blu-rays, and the prices
mhm.
still are the same. They haven't come down.
They've gone up, if
Yep.
anything. Yeah.
Mhm.
So yeah, so I miss those days, man. Like if it's up to me, man, I would love to, with especially with my projects, man, I'm gonna just be like, hey, I got to kick up the extra cost to add that because to me
Mhm.
that creates people and bring them into that world of filmmaking, especially if they're interested and want to teeter and they don't know about it, they can see how it's made.
Yep.
Like I was a
Mhm.
huge fan of watching like uh all the documentaries on Star Wars and stuff like that, and how they use the miniatures and
Mhm.
everything like that, or back in the day with Gremlins and the practical effects and the animatronics and stuff. I miss those
Mhm.
days of
Yep.
seeing that on the VHSs and the DVDs in
Mhm.
the early 2000s, man.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah.
CJ agree is correct. They don't show the same love to DVDs, behind the scenes, creators of that movie or show, talk over scenes, etc. It's the
Yep.
independent filmmakers that do it. So
Yep.
they have the power to control what goes on their discs, and that's where you see it. But
Hmm.
anyway, my voice is getting a little scratchy there. Let's jump into our rankings here. So the tier
I
make.
I would like to say one thing before we jump into our rankings.
Go ahead.
We didn't mention. I feel like you haven't mentioned something that came out on Monday that you should mention that we had released on Monday that deserves a little bit of praise.
That's tomorrow, Monday. It's not out yet.
Ah, never mind, guys. Sorry.
Well, I do have one more
Woo!
news. I do
All
have
right,
one more
go ahead.
thing
We'll
for
talk about
news.
it.
So I don't know if you saw, you may have missed it, but the two brothers that made Talk to Me, they announced that they got a new
Yeah.
movie that they're working on before Talk to Me 2 that's supposed to be coming out. They haven't released the title and
Oh,
stuff,
nice.
but they did give, some information. So I'm definitely looking forward to, and it's an A24 film too. So I'm definitely looking forward to whatever they got cooking, man.
Let me see here. So, Noah, should we go ahead and give everybody a present and just show everybody what you're going to talk about?
No, we should wait until Monday.
Why? I have a trimmed version.
Nah, let's wait. Let's wait.
Yes,
Oh
wait.
my God! All
Now
right.
now they gotta wait until Monday.
All right. So tomorrow, Lost Horror Media returns. We are doing a episode on the the deleted now lost scene from It 2017, where it's Pennywise that eats a baby, and it's truly terrifying. And Nerdbox has done something a first for us. So in that video, we actually debut some new
Don't tell me.
content that I so want to tell him. But
All we
now,
gotta say, all we gotta say is big shout out to Lucas and Riley. That's all we gotta
Yeah.
say. And we
yep.
can't say why until after tomorrow.
Yep.
That's it.
So
That's it. That's
tune
it.
in
It's
for that
fine.
tomorrow. I'll probably release it separately as well because it's us expanding. And speaking of us expanding, at the end of March, a few of us are going to our first convention where we will be at the convention. Doing what? We cannot tell you just yet. That will come
It's big.
pretty soon.
It's
Make it
big.
Yep.
making memories. Making memories.
Yep. Making memories. So, Marcus, can, I think we can kind of tell them what convention we're going to be at. We just can't tell them why we're going to be there, right? What do you think?
Well, if we
Uh,
tell them what convention we're going to, they can look it up and then
yeah,
they can kind of can
that'll
assume.
give it away. I'll put it like this. Just say no. I don't want. It's associated to a project that I
Listen,
was
guys, we
fortunate
can't.
to get.
We hold on, guys. We're gonna end up saying things that we can't say yet.
Yeah,
You're not
yeah,
allowed to
yeah.
know.
All right.
We're not. You're not allowed to know yet. All right. I'm gonna cut them
All right.
off. I'm gonna be the responsible one here. We
Thank you,
cannot
nephew.
tell you
Thank you,
as
nephew.
much as I would
Thank
love
you.
to. I would like, because
All right.
I want to say something. I want to say something, but we can't say anything.
May
No,
maybe in a week,
stop.
maybe in a week or two, you may see it coming soon. Start popping up on uh, cover photos and stuff like that. So we'll
Mhm.
find out.
Maybe
All right. Let's dive into this here. So
almost
tier
derailed us
maker
on accident.
only
Sorry,
allowed. What happened?
I almost derailed us talking about the thing for tomorrow.
Yeah, you did. So tier maker only allows you to upload 5 films or more. So when we're ranking Candyman, we're going to talk about a couple other Tony Todd films in there. And no, you're going to kick us off with the original Candyman. Where do you
I'm gonna
have it?
start. I'm gonna put it at a must watch.
Okay.
So really good movie. I like the premise behind. So like I like the story behind um how Candyman came to be and how the investigation of going into it and all that. So I really like that aspect of the movie. I think that they could have gone a little bit more into it and explored the idea of the backstory behind it a little bit more, which I mean we'll talk about later. But that just I think that's the reason they didn't. That's just it's late 80s, early 90s. Filming that is like a little bit more of a budget, I guess you could say. So I'm not, you can't really hold a fault to that, but I think the movie's really good. I think that Tony Todd always delivers. Virginia Madsen also did really good. So,
Hmm.
but I would, yeah, I think out of all the movies here, definitely would not rank it as the best one here, in my personal opinion.
Oh, a teaser. Teaser. You got part 3 at number 1. I know. Go ahead, Marcus. What's your thoughts on this here? Must watch, perfection, somewhere else?
Well, for me personally, and especially like uh, where I was living at the time when this came out, because I was born in Chicago, even though I grew up in Atlanta mostly.
Hmm.
This movie is perfection for me because it
Hmm.
actually affected my age group, and especially because I had family and friends that grew up in Cabrini Greens and everything like that, and been
Hmm.
there a few times myself. That movie traumatized a lot of us, man. Like it hit every note, especially with the social injustice of it and
Hmm.
the message behind it. But the way Tony Todd, his presence in that film was just unmatched, dude. Just unmatched, man. And such a tragic story. The all the performances were great. Like nephew said, Virginia Madsen was amazing in it. The fact that Todd did his own stunts with the bees and got stung over
Hmm.
50 times was
At
like
least he got money for
unheard
it.
of.
At least he got money for it.
Hmm.
Yeah, he definitely got money for it. And it was just Phillips Glass score was perfect in the film, and even to this day, one of the themes, the Cabrini Greens theme and the opening intro theme has been sampled by Timbaland, Lil Jon, and now ASAP, not ASAP Rocky, whatever that dude's name from
Hmm.
whatchamacallit. So I mean, it's just a memorable film, man. It was just an amazing film to me. So
So I'm there with Noah and as a must watch. But real quick, so we got CJ. This is going to be hard for me. Not a fan, and same for Hellraiser. But let's go. All right. So here's why I have it as a must watch. I think Tony Todd's performance as Candyman and bringing that character to life far outshines any of the films in this entire franchise. Like the character itself just transcends the entire franchise. Like
The gore as well in this movie. I forgot to mention.
yes, the gore as well, but
Chef's kiss.
I I have a problem with the gore because the hook goes through the back and comes out through the chest, right? There's no
Hmm.
point on the front. So that's just brute force of him forcing that in there. It's not the cutting of him going through there. It's just brute force going through there.
Oh yeah, I know. That's
Um,
why I think it's pretty dope.
Hmm.
so Candyman. The reason why I have it as a must watch is because I've watched this 5 times. I own this movie. I've made it through it once a week because it's so drawn out. It's got so much story in there that I think
Hmm.
that takes away from it a little bit because it just doesn't keep my attention. And wouldn't you know it, every single time that I've fallen asleep on this movie, I wake up at the same freaking scene with the baby's gone and the Rottweiler's head is off. And I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm waking up to somebody screaming. It's like, what the hell is going on? Oh, I'm watching Candyman. But
The other reason why I felt like
I
it's perfection too is because of taking a short story, from Clive Barker, that short story of it, and expanding it the way that they did was just brilliant to me. You know, because
well
like the
that
story was almost totally different if you've ever read the short story compared to the movie. So,
well it's merged with everything that's going on in Chicago too. So you
hmm,
have the real life murder of a girl that had people coming through the mirror in Chicago, not too far from Campini Greens. So that
yeah,
went into the Candyman story. There was the rumors of the Candyman, not serial killer, but he was a child kidnapper
hmm,
that was happening at the time. He was driving around in a white van, and then of course you have everything that's going on in the Capri Green with the gangs and everything like that. Those are real people that were living there. Like
yeah,
they were actually got shot at while filming the movie there. So
yep,
it was a very dangerous set to be on at the time too. So like, I think all the stories that went into making Candyman, I actually find that a lot more interesting than the actual film itself. So
yeah.
that's
You
just
couldn't
me
go
on
into
that one.
Cabrini unless you had family or friends that lived there. That's all I could say.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah.
Ah, boy. Even being a street kid, I would not go there because I would
Yeah.
know that that's like growing up in the city and stuff like that. You're like, up, nope, just keep walking. You don't go down that neighborhood. All right, so
Hmm.
that brings us to the second film, Marcus. Candyman: Farewell to the Flesh.
Uh, I'm indifferent on this one. I would
Okay.
say it is an acceptable time waster. Reason being is I actually enjoy the character. Well, again, Tony Todd knocks it out the park. I mean, he's the only
Hmm.
real saving grace of the movie, and of course, Philip Glass's score. And then you had Bill Nunn in there, who I just love as an actor. You know what I mean? Anyway, Radio Raheem for those that don't never seen Do the Right Thing. Um,
Hmm.
and I like the character of his great granddaughter. I actually like Annie. But the rest of the
Hmm.
movie itself, it was a mess. You know what I mean? It was like the pacing of it was off. Uh, the whole concept of the mirror, being his source of strength or whatever was just kind of silly to me. Um, and then it kind of started diving into, and this will go into when we talk about part three too. It started moving into that incestuous territory. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Between him and
Yep.
Annie, and then him and her daughter Caroline. So it's just
Yeah.
like I didn't like those elements of it. But again, like I said, I love the character of Annie because I thought that was pretty cool. That was a pretty cool concept of legacy. And then her mom, what's her name? What's that actress name from Alien? I always forget her name. But I love her as an actress too. So I thought
Hmm.
she was a saving grace of the movie. So yeah, I say it's an acceptable time waster.
Yeah, CG's right there. Part two was shaky, and let me tell you, part two is almost like it feels like a really bad retelling of the first part
Hmm.
because you have the lead actress, another white actress in it. It takes place in a different city. right?
Hmm.
Wasn't this one? This wasn't.
New
Was
Orleans.
this? Yeah, this one was New Orleans, right? Takes place in a
It
different
was centered
city.
on Mardi Gras, wasn't it?
Yeah, and you're introducing new stuff elements into the film, and then you're retelling the first one where it's like, oh my god, she's crazy, she's killing people and stuff like that, and the cops are watching her and stuff like that. And it's for me, I say it's an acceptable time waster because it was lower down on the list, just
Hmm.
because I didn't see three yet, and then when I watched three, it kind of elevated this film because three is so bad, which we'll talk about shortly. But yeah, definitely a acceptable time waster. Complete retelling of the first one, just not as good. Different city. Um, kills are okay, I guess, but
The
yeah,
kills were
uh,
so mad at me because it was the same
yeah,
kill over and over again. The hook going through
yeah,
the back,
yep.
and them
Yeah,
barely showing anything.
kind of an agreement here, right? Because it's just they had a formula with the first one they thought they could recapture, and then they just because they
Well, I
kind
like
of
the
missed the
idea
point
of
of
the
the first one.
legacy.
Yeah.
Like I love the idea of
Yep.
the legacy where her brother, her dad was involved, and the mom was trying to keep it a secret to protect her. So I love that aspect of it. It was just the
Hmm.
execution of it all was just
Mhm.
bad. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep. So no, based off of you saying the same thing, where it's just like following a formula, and us talking about recycling the same good kill over and over again, which makes it effectively a lot worse. This is one of the reasons why I have a gripe with that kill, is because it gets
Mhm.
played out after you see it so many times. Where
It's
would
his
you put this
fatality.
one?
It's his fatality if he gets put into combat. That's what
yep.
they're setting it up for.
Yep.
I think keeping it at acceptable time waster is fine.
All right. All right. So that brings it to me now. Candyman 3 is going right into unwatchable garbage. Right. So I
Oh
put this
god.
movie on, hoping that it was going to be better than part two. And we're starting off with another white girl, and only this one's a Playboy model in real life
Hmm.
at the time,
And
and
now
she's
she
wearing
has
an.
her OnlyFans in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she got her OnlyFans.
But so she's any chance they get to put her in her underwear in the movie, that's what they did. And she wasn't like a 10 or a 9, but it's like, okay, she's good to look at, but she ain't keeping your attention the entire movie because the acting is bad, the story is bad, and then on top of that, the stalker cop, like,
Oh,
what the hell?
and I love him as an actor, man. That's the thing. I love. I think his name is Wade Williams. I love him in Prison Break. I love him in so many other. Like he's good at playing a villain, but I hated him in this. Like it was just he was so over the dude. You just met her the night before. You come to her house. I mean, you
Yep,
drop her off at home, and then you come back the next day with roses.
yep,
And get mad because she goes off with the Mexican dude from Nightmare on Elm Street. Like, come
yep,
on, bro. That was so
yeah,
bad.
yeah. He it turns him crazy. He gets fired from his job, and then he goes around becoming. Now that would have been an interesting concept because by the end of the movie, he's carrying around the hook from Candyman, and
Mhm,
like, oh, that
mhm,
would have been interesting if they would have kind of went with that theme through the entire movie, like with a copycat. But
mhm.
it was just so bad, and then it didn't even make sense with the
No,
guy from Nightmare on Elm Street because
nope.
he scared her in the beginning of the movie, and then suddenly they're like in a relationship. It's like, did I miss like 20 minutes of the movie? I don't remember falling asleep.
Yeah, yeah.
You're supposed to put that
And
together in your head. It's a puzzle. You just didn't understand.
they had shots of tequila. Tequila would do that to
Yep.
you. Just
There
put.
you go. Problem solved.
Mhm.
You know that was Ernie Hudson's son, the black cop, the bald head guy. So
Oh, really?
Winston from Ghostbusters, yeah, that's his son, Ernie Hudson
Oh,
Jr. Yeah. And
interesting.
then
Interesting.
if you watched it on Peacock, I don't know if anybody noticed. I noticed this because I just watched the movie again this morning. So the scene where him
Hmm.
and Ernie Hudson's son get into it in the street,
Yep.
where he was like chasing after her, uh, you could tell that they dubbed over a specific word that they had him say in the original cut. So he was like, before he punches him, the reason why he punched him was because he called him the N word. And so if you
Oh.
go on Peacock and watch the movie, he said he calls him something else.
Hmm.
But you could still read his lips and tell that it was a bad, voiceover on that one. Yeah.
Crazy. So, Marcus, what do you have this at before we get Noah's ranking on it?
Below garbage, dude. It was just a late night Skinamax movie of the
Yeah, I was
night
gonna say
type
like
of movie.
you gotta
You
you
know,
gotta you gotta make sure no one else is watching while or like behind you while you're watching it. Like,
like
and
they even changed
I
the
don't think
actress of the mom. You know, I was like, dude, that was just terrible, man.
No, what you got
garbage.
at? Same thing,
It's
garbage?
garbage. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah. Oh my god. Like I said, any chance to get her in her underwear. Like the one scene where she's in the shower crying and it's a shot from over top is like that just
Hmm
doesn't fit.
Oh, I
All
really
right,
feel
so that
for
brings us
you. I'm
yep.
really feeling for you right now.
All right, so that brings us to Candyman the reboot. No, where you got it?
I will put this one also at a must watch. This one
Whoa! Yeah, all right.
I I'm just I bef- before I hear why you agree or disagree, Jesus, I really like the score. It the going into the movie and seeing like the introduction of Candyman, chills. Like I got goosebumps. Like it's very artistic. The entire movie is very artistic, and I like that. I very much appreciated that. Um, the overall story was really good. I was confused at first. It was like, that's not Tony Todd, and then I was like, okay, now I'm starting to get it. I do think it's a bit odd that there's somehow two people that both had a hook for a hand. Like they didn't really explain why he had a hook for a hand. They just kind of like threw it in there for it to make sense, and then like everything was fine. I The ending is so bad. I don't like the explanation. Um,
Hmm
what is it? Salazar, is that his name? From Fear of the Walking Dead. I don't
Oh,
remember
from
his,
Walking.
his real
Yeah,
name. Yeah, I don't remember his real
it's
name,
not
so I
Coleman
Daniel.
apologize.
Domingo.
But
Coleman Domingo.
yeah,
Yeah.
he's a great actor. He's a great actor. It's such a weird like it's such a weird like I don't know. I just personally didn't get it. So it's like you're cutting off his hand. Why is he getting infected by the bee? And is like he a messenger for the Candyman? Like
I'll tell you.
whatever. Like
I'll tell you.
okay, because like and then Tony Todd comes in at the end, right? Tony Todd comes in at the end because the bees like
hmm
form his face. He's like tell
hmm
everyone. So I assume that this was building up towards something. Um, like he's back now. There's no sequel, so I guess it was a build up towards nothing. But Marcus will explain. So that's why I won't put it in like top tier because it is a really good movie, but I personally didn't understand the ending. So
hmm
maybe that'll change my answer it once explained.
All right, Marcus, where you got it?
But yeah, must watch.
Well, first before I go in, had to show off,
That's pretty
Candyman.
cool.
Even though this is the trick or treat, sorry for the reflection, guys. Even though this is the trick or treat one, I'm not the biggest fan of it because it doesn't look like Tony Todd that much. Uh, but it's a good figure nonetheless. It looks like when he was like somewhat younger. And now that we're on the 2021 films, got the pop figures too. It's four of them. So you got Anthony McCoy,
hmm
and then you got Sherman as well, who had the hook. So to explain to Noah's point, all right. So I don't know. This was actually a direct sequel to the original, so
hmm
it ignores
Yes.
part two and part three. So the main character played by Yahya Abdul-Mateen was Anthony McCoy, who's the little baby that Candyman abducted in the original film and who Helen uh, sacrificed herself for. And of
Yes.
course, I have this as a must watch for me
hmm
personally. I loved it.
Really? All right.
Uh, yeah. So the reason why the ending played out the way that it did, and the reason why Sherman people thought and Coleman Domingo's character thought that Sherman was the Candyman. Yes, they don't explain that he had the hook. They called him the Candyman because he gave candy to the kids and stuff
hmm
like
Yeah.
that. But
Yeah.
he was innocent because of the white girl died with the
Yeah.
razor and everything like that, and dealing with the social injustice and stuff like that. But the underlining story of it was Candyman's main mission was always to keep people afraid and keep his legacy going through fear. So the reason why he abducted Anthony and wanted Anthony to be a sacrifice in that bonfire in the middle of Cabrini Greens to kill Anthony was to keep that fear going for forever and ever, so he could stay alive and do what he does and basically like that. So in this, the whole thing with the bees was because people basically kind of forgot, basically like Freddy and Freddy versus Jason, people didn't fear anymore, and that's how he lost his power. It was kind of the same thing with this, but this time instead of keeping the legacy going just through stories, he infected people who were wronged the same way he was, just like Sherman in the Till. So if you saw that little puppet story at the end, you see all the black men that were brutally killed and they were innocent, you know. So they kept the legacy going and kept that story going and that fear going, but they embodied his evil spirit. So being that Anthony had that direct connection to Daniel, instead of him just being a sacrifice, he ended up embodying Candyman altogether. And when he finally came through, I mean, the CGI could have been better with Tony Todd's face and stuff like that, but basically Tony Todd basically just took over Anthony altogether. He was like basically the new vessel in the flesh, so to speak. So I think it could have been explained a little bit more, but yeah, I liked it.
I think my issue is I think my issue is more the motive, like using Anthony as a scapegoat to just bring Tony Todd a new physical form, because Tony Todd is now given a physical form, or the original Candyman is brought back to as a physical form, but so I guess my issue is just the motive behind like using him as an innocent man, turning him guilty, and then so
same thing with Helen.
Everything makes sense about like everything makes sense except for I can't remember the characters. I'm gonna call him Salazar still. His part doesn't make sense to me because why help? Yes, Strand. Sorry, Salazar's the other one. Strand. I don't know why he would help Candyman. Like, why would he want to help Candyman?
Obsessed.
Try and what's up?
He was obsessed, basically. So kind of like how
like a fanatic. Okay, all right.
Yeah, kind of like how,
right.
or like
all right,
like Renfield to Dracula, basically. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Okay, it could have been explained more, though. It could have been explained more because like he was traumatized as a kid. So I was like, why would you end up being obsessed by it? But they never explained how Candyman used them, so to speak.
15 more minutes, and I think that would have done a lot of justice for the ending of this film.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree with that too. Like they could have just, like I said, they could have dove into the lore a little bit more.
You guys talked me down on this one, so I'm gonna leave it in must watch. So just listen to your explanations. I thoroughly enjoyed this reboot.
It was a beautiful film, like throughout the entirety of the film. Like it was a beautiful film. It's just like that, and I got lost on the ending.
I thought it was better than Halloween 2018 when it comes to the series of reboots that we got. This is my second favorite reboot of.
Was this supposed to be the start of a trilogy?
I don't know. I think they were supposed to do another sequel with Anthony being the new Candyman, but it underperformed in the theater. And then plus around the time with COVID and everything, so we don't know what may happen in the future. I know Jordan Peele and Yaya both said they would love to, do another one.
Yeah.
So I hope it happens eventually. Yeah. But right now he's moving on to People Under the Stairs. So
yeah, we'll see how that one goes. But honestly, I think if we look at ranking these in order, it's probably going to sit right there, right? I don't think it's going to change that order.
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty comfortable.
All right, well, let's go ahead and talk about some other rules that have been done before. So, Marcus, Tony Todd in The Crow.
Perfection.
Yeah.
The Crow is just such an awesome movie, but Tony Todd in it was just scary. He's scary good in everything he does, man. But in that, he was just straight up creepy. As Grange, yeah, he's just creepy.
Yeah, his part in that movie, like every time I watch, I forget that it's Tony Todd, just because his
Hmm.
delivery is so different from other
Hmm.
films that I've seen him in, and he's just so laid back and mellow in it, and he's just a great addition to that movie as
Yeah.
the bodyguard in that.
Yeah.
So I would agree with you on there. So like his role in that is it not only is the film perfect, but so is his role in it. So I
Hmm.
don't think you can replace him with somebody else in that film and get the same type of presence that he had on screen.
Yeah. Because I mean, he
No,
was
what
like you
about you?
said, he was so cool, calm, collected,
Yep.
but yet still
Yep.
terrifying. You know.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I think overall, yeah. So I mean, you could leave it in perfection. Obviously, I love this film.
Hmm.
Um, I don't think you really have to worry about Tony Todd when it comes to seeing him on screen. He's not going to
Hmm.
underperform. Typically, you just have to worry about the movie around it catching up. But so, I mean, I will say, watching The Crow, I have to be in the right mindset because this is a pretty heavy topic type film. But it is still an amazingly performed film all around, and also a very artistically beautiful film as well. Great guitar riffs.
Hmm.
I will say some great music. Yeah, Tony Todd in this movie was fantastic, and this movie on its own, when I can like sit down and like watch it all the way through, great movie. I haven't seen the sequel, but I don't feel the need to. But the first one, this one's really good. So yeah,
Yep.
I'd leave it in perfection.
Yep. CG's got there. Tony was in Lean on Me as the head dean. Didn't say a word, and he looks scary and means business.
He does look
Head of
scary, and he's
security,
tall
not Dean.
too.
He was head of security and Lean on Me, not Dean. Morgan
All
Freeman
right.
was.
All right.
Yeah.
That was a good movie. Lean on Me. That was
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
very
It
good
was him
movie.
and Morgan Freeman were awesome. So
Yep.
yeah.
All right. So I'm gonna go next with Final Destination, where he
The
plays
whole
Death, and I'm gonna
the
drop
whole
it in there as a
franchise.
must-watch. Yeah, the whole franchise and his character as Death is perfect. He had the perfect voice for it. I,
Hmm.
again, that's another one where if you take him out and put somebody else there, the film suffers
Wouldn't be the same.
without him
Yeah.
being in that movie. Yeah,
I mean,
so
even with part
definitely.
three, as him just being the voice of the demon in the roller coaster, still his
Hmm.
presence was there. You know.
Now, from what I heard is with the Bloodlines coming out, Final Destination,
Hmm.
his voice is still in it too. So he still
No,
got
he
some
he
sort of.
actually shot scenes in it.
Oh, he did. Oh,
Yeah,
fantastic.
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He shot scenes in it because the cast talked about they didn't know he was sick until they saw him, that he was like kind of
Hmm.
frail. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in this one because he's reprising his role as the coroner. I forgot the
Hmm.
actual character's name, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah. No, what do you got to say
The
about
Grim
that Final
Reaper.
Destination? His role in it.
I think that keeping it at a must watch is a
Mhm.
good spot to have it land at because it is a really good film. Tony Todd, like so, Marcus kind of said it best. Tony Todd as a presence kind of just it elevates the whole film, and also
Hmm.
this movie is really good at making you kind of like fear being alive. So um, it's yeah. So you can't put it in perfection because why would I want to watch a movie that's gonna make me paranoid for the rest of my life? But also it's a great concept and they play it well.
Hmm.
So and also Tony getting to see Tony Todd in this as the corner because I don't know if you heard me, but Tony Todd's tall. So he's a
Yes.
big guy. Like
Yeah, he's
he's a
like six
so
four, 6'5". Yeah.
physical,
Hmm.
yeah, like a physical presence. Like and it's so having Tony Todd as the basically the bringer of death, the Grim Reaper, talking
Oh
about
yeah.
it, and also like he is the Grim Reaper. I know it's not like explicitly said, but like let's be real, he is kind of like
Pretty much.
making sure people are getting
Hmm.
their served death in an orderly time frame or whatever. They're on a schedule. They're on a schedule.
Yep.
So
Mhm.
it's an interesting concept. But yeah, like I said, I wouldn't want a movie that makes you paranoid for the rest of my life in perfection. I don't think I'm
Hmm.
that crazy.
I
Yep.
still get goosebumps every time in that scene where he tells Devon Sawa and Ali Lauder. And he says it in such a whisper where he's like, "See you soon" or something like that. Like, dude, every time
Yeah.
goosebumps.
Hmm.
Like
Yeah.
stop it.
Yeah.
Like stop it. You're
He is
freaking me out, but I love it. Do it
Yeah.
more. Stop.
such a he was such a nice person too in real life.
Yeah.
I met
Yeah.
him.
Yeah.
I had him sign the hook for me. Yeah, such a great guy. Nice guy. I wanted to meet him again, but unfortunately, well, that's just
And it's unfortunate, man, that he was our Lockwood and Stream, and
Yep.
the fact that it just hurts thinking about it, man, not to be able
Mhm.
to see him again,
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, Noah. I don't know if you've seen the Hatchet movies. Have you?
I was gonna say, yeah, no, I have not seen a Hatchet movie, unfortunately. So I don't really have a spot
All
to
right.
write to put this. So I will veto my vote.
Okay. No. Marcus, how about you? Where you got Hatchet at with him playing Reverend Voodoo?
Loved him in a row, so I gotta put it as a must watch because he's
All
just
right.
fun all around. And Hatchet, I mean, even though you got to go in there knowing that it's just silly, just
Mhm.
a fun film. If you
Mhm.
come in there thinking and trying to take it serious, then you'll be highly disappointed.
Yep.
Uh, but again, he's just always brilliant in everything that he does, and then plus him and Danielle Harris play off pretty well. So they were good together.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love this part in the film. This, unlike Final Destination and The Crows, where his character didn't really carry like the parts that he was in, where he
yeah,
did in the previous films and stuff like that. No, you would like Hatchet because it's Kane Hodder playing as Victor Crowley, and it's just like a Jason movie, just with a different type of backstory to it. Same disfigured kid coming back to kill people and stuff like that. But by the time you get to Victor Crowley is the best film of the franchise. Like
yeah.
the
It
movies get
is.
gradually better every single film, which I'm sad that we haven't gotten a follow up to Victor Crowley.
Even though, like I said, they're just silly good fun because it gets sillier, even though they get better. But
Hmm.
knowing that that's what you want, you know what I mean? That it makes the franchise great. So
Yeah, there is a unaliving moment in Victor Crowley where Victor Crowley, Kane Hodder, takes somebody's arm off and shoves it through the female part and makes it come out her mouth and wave. That's like so good. It's like whoop, whoop.
and Kane has so much
Like
fun playing
wow.
it, man. He talks about it all the time.
Yep. And then of course you got Quinn in there from Impractical Jokers in the last one as well. So I think
Hmm.
you would enjoy it. If you want to watch any of them, no, I would say watch Victor Crowley. I think you would enjoy that one the most.
Yeah.
All right, Hatchet, let's go. He was awesome in the character. Must watch for sure. Yep. All right. So we went through our list. It's a small franchise this month. Next month, we're not going to be on as much next month because next weekend we're going to be at New Jersey HorrorCon, seeing our friends over at the stream uh, that are going to be there, and also a Blair Witch reunion. So Noah, myself, and a few and Lukas possibly are going to be down there checking out the New Jersey HorrorCon. I don't know if we'll be able to make it back in time, so we won't be on next weekend. But in 2 weeks, we'll probably do either the women of Scream franchise ranking, or maybe we'll do Final Girl. So we'll figure it out with what we do in 2 weeks. But anything you boys want to talk about before we head out?
Well, I will say that two of my all-time favorite roles of Tony's, and you said earlier you didn't see these movies. Loved him in Tom Savini's Night of the Living Dead remake. He was like
Hmm.
phenomenal in that film. And then The Rock with Nicolas Cage, man. He played a Marine who was all about his money. And
Hmm.
his scene with Nicolas Cage is just everybody knows the Rocket Man scene. It was just an iconic scene where he says, "I just don't like
Hmm.
that soft ass shit." Talking about Elton John.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was great in that, man, because he was like just a scary Marine that was just all about that dollar. He didn't care about
Hmm.
anybody's lives. He just wanted that money, the share of his money, and you believed him too. So yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. And then Noah, you play with him as Venom, right?
Yes, and he's very good as Venom in
Mhm.
Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation. Well, I mean, it's coming to PC now, but so I mean, if you play
Yeah, I
on
got it.
PC, but
Yeah.
there's gonna be a mod where you can play multiplayer, which is really cool. But yes, Tony Todd is Venom, and then what stinks though is like so what they said. So what I've heard is that most of his dialogue wasn't even used in the game. So I'm expecting
Hmm.
that we're potentially getting more, like maybe a DLC, hopefully. So play Spider-Man 2. You won't be disappointed with the Venom stuff. I mean, the game as a whole is great. Playing as Venom is great, and also Tony Todd as Venom just kind of makes sense for his voice. Um,
Hmm.
you have
He
a
did the
presence
voice
to
of
play
Zoom
it,
too.
play. Yeah, exactly. I did know that.
Mhm.
I actually knew that. Yeah, but so if we get a DLC, that'd be great. But play Spider-Man 2, play the Spider-Man franchise. They're cool. But yeah, Tony Todd as Venom was pretty cool. I don't have any other closing remarks.
Yeah, his voice as
All right.
Zoom and Flash was awesome. And then he recently did the Indiana Jones video game too. That was like one of his final roles.
Oh
right,
yeah, I
well-
forgot about the Indiana Jones video game.
Hmm
All right. Well, remember, tune in tomorrow for the return of Lost Horror Media, where you get to see us expand in what we're doing a little bit here on the channel, which is the first expansion of what we're doing here at Nerdbox.
It is it is a glimpse at
know,
what
this
is
month.
to come.
Yes, exciting things to come. And then next month is Women History and Horror, so we'll be focusing on the ladies next month. And thank you for joining us as always. We'll catch you next time. See you.
Peace. That was a relatively short one, just under an hour.
Yeah, it was a good episode.
Yeah.
Over here, almost falling asleep in my chair, getting real comfy, cozy over here. Got the hoodie and the beanie on. I'm over here getting real comfortable. I got 2 blankets over here that I'm sleeping.